Welcome back to the Ascend Television Network, and welcome back to Second Chances. My name is Greg Hennis, and if you were with us last time around, we were really in the middle of many, many things that our guest Kate has been through, and we were about halfway through her situation, and unfortunately we ran out of time. I really hated to leave the program off there last week, but we're going to continue today.
Sure.
And Kate, if you missed the program last week, it was very moving and touching. So I'm just going to do my best to recap it for folks that are watching at home. Last week, you kind of shared with us that you grew up in a Christian home, and at a very young age, you picked up a boyfriend, and unbeknownst to your parents, who actually didn't want you to have that relationship, right?
That's right.
Got involved with this guy, and you entered into a physically abusive, mentally, verbal, all kinds of abuse, and it really set your life, at one time I guess you were kind of cruising along the Christian highway, and it kind of took you in a downward spiral, that relationship, am I right?
That's right.
And then you got away from that situation, and things still were kind of tough. Suicide, depression.
Yeah.
And then from that point, you get involved in a marriage, and you have two wonderful children. Miracle happened.
Yeah.
God gave you that second child, even though all the doctors said, forget about it, it's not going to happen,
That's
don't
right.
even waste your time. Thousands of dollars later, probably, in fertility treatments and things. You have this miracle. Perfect time to say, okay, God, I'm in total surrender. But I don't think you were quite there yet.
No.
Okay, so that's where we're going to continue from, okay?
Yeah.
So continue telling us from that point, I mean, it's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Then you lose your marriage.
Then I lose my marriage, yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, that was tough. So I found myself single mom, 2 kids, and I was struggling. I always struggled to believe that I couldn't do things alone. I had that very unhealthy dependency from a very, very early age on someone else to make me feel worthwhile. But then of course I start all those years of my young life with understanding that I want someone to make me feel worthwhile, I want to be loved, so it doesn't really matter how I'm being treated because I just don't want to be alone. And so I found myself alone. And I didn't like it, and so I was scared to do things by myself. So that just kind of led to a couple more failed relationships that weren't good for me. And finally,
no more abuse, though.
No more abuse. No, but just not the right relationships for me or for my situation. Basically, at the end of the relationships and me just trying to fix my life by having the right guy,
Quick fix.
Quick fix. Like, I just need to find, a real Christian guy. I just need to find a guy that's nice to me. I just need to find a guy that doesn't mind I have kids. You know what I mean? Like, I had to get out of the mindset that I needed a guy, that I couldn't do things on my own. And so finally, it got to the point where I just said to the Lord, I need your help. I don't want to do this anymore.
Was there a point it got real low that caused this to happen?
I just think after the end of one of those other relationships that I was just tired of trying to fix my own life, that I just realized that I couldn't do it. Like, I can't do this. I can't create the perfect situation. I can't find the right person. I can't make things work, because I was trying to do it with the full knowledge that there was God. It wasn't that I didn't love God. It wasn't that I didn't know He was real, but I always kept Him like this. Like, I know you're there, but I want you to stay there, because I don't trust you, because these horrible things have happened to me, and I still just don't trust you yet, But finally, it just got to the point where I just was like, I had to surrender. And I said that. I just said, I surrender. Whatever you need me to do, I will do it. I just want to give my kids a happy, safe life. And I don't want to hurt them, and I don't want to hurt anymore, like me. I don't want to hurt anymore. So I'm going to try to do this on my own, and I need your help. And I audibly, for the first time in my life, I audibly heard God say, let me be the man in your life. let me be the father and the husband, and just let me be, and trust me with that. And so I said, okay. And that's where things started to get better.
When you heard the Lord say that, did you feel a release? Did you feel like baggage came off? Did you feel like...
I was so grateful that I heard him. Like I said, I have a complicated relationship with the Lord. So kind of after that, I said, Lord, that's what I need. I need you to talk to me like I'm a 4-year-old. Like I need flashing lights and billboard signs. Like I really need that, because sometimes I'll get an idea and I'll think, well, this must be the Lord, but it's really just me, So God and I kind of have a funny relationship that when I really need to know something, like, I'm just like, you got to make it really clear. And he does. He does. He knows what I need, and he gives it to me.
So... current day, how has your life improved? And by the way, how long ago was that you had that little encounter with the Lord and you heard him?
7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. 7 years ago.
Okay. And since that period, life has gotten much better?
Yes. So what happened at that period is I was able to gain my own home. And I was able to get a good job, and I was able to support my children on my own.
God was your husband and father at that point.
Husband and father. And,
you were okay
a
with all
couple
that.
years before that, before I was really surrendered to God, I was very fortunate that I did have a roommate that I lived with, in a house to kind of help me acclimate to single life, and I don't want to take that away from her. That's my best friend, Carissa. She was definitely there for me during all those hard times. But she knew that I had God a little bit like this, but she never left my side. She kind of stuck by me from my highs and my lows. But it was time for me to be a big girl and do things on my own. And so I did. I went and got the house, and I had the job, and I was paying the bills, and I was going to counseling, and I was taking care of the kids. And whenever there would be a lack of any kind, something would show up at my door. I would come home from work sometimes, and there would be a package of diapers on my doorstep. I would be cleaning out my closet upstairs. One time I just remember I was really struggling because I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay a bill. And I was upstairs kind of sorting through things to see if I could sell anything on eBay. And I went through a coat pocket, a coat I hadn't worn in years. And there was the exact amount of money that my bill was to the change in that pocket of a coat I hadn't worn in years. Not the amount of money you would leave in a pocket that you would forget about, And so God just kept showing up in these really neat ways. And I wanted to kind of have a healthy outlet for myself. It's hard when you're a working mom, like you're working full time and then you have your kids, but what do you do for you? And I didn't want to do those unhealthy things that I had done in the past where, I would be partying or, doing things that just, shouldn't be doing. So I ended up really taking on painting as a hobby. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it turned out that, the Lord just, from that moment on, just kept opening doors for me to where I ended up opening an art gallery in Millville, downtown Millville, and developing really close friendships with the people in the art community there. And through that, I met writers and musicians. And it really opened up the doorway for me to meet a publisher that had heard me reading some of my poetry at Poetry on High at Bogart's that they have every third Sunday out there. And she was apparently there at one of them. I didn't know. And then I was out for a third Friday, and she approached me and said, "You're Kate, right?" And she's like, "I heard you, reading your poetry, and so this is what I do, and I work for Red Dashboard Publications, and we would really like to see some of your stuff. And do you have any more? Could you send it over?" And so I'm like, I have tons of stuff to send over, sure, but then it's like, what do I send? So I just sent everything, and they ended up really liking it, and they were like, "We'd really like to publish your stuff." And
what did you say to that?
I was like, okay. But then, it gets scary because a lot of my stuff is dark. I didn't get rid of those things, all of them.
You mean from tougher times in your life?
From tougher times. I did hold on to them because I felt it was important for me to see where I had been and where I had gotten. And in addition to all these amazing things, opportunities that the Lord gave me, I got a Facebook message from someone I hadn't seen in like 16 years. It was a guy I grew up with here, and he had gone and moved out to Las Vegas and had a family and had gotten divorced, unfortunately, as well. And he said, hey, I'm moving back to Jersey. I'm interested in going to church, but I don't really feel like I know anyone there anymore. Would you mind if the kids and I joined you? And so, this had been after, kind of being single for a really long time. And so I was just, I was still a little, I don't know what this is going to be. Is this just, But I said, okay. I said, yeah, you can meet us for church. I mean, there's no harm in that. And so...
if you're going to meet somebody someplace, there's no better place to go than church.
Right? So I invited them out, and it was him and his two children, a little girl and a little boy. And they walked into the sanctuary doors, and my children and I greeted them, and we've never been apart since.
So you, because of that, reconnected with this guy?
Reconnected with this guy, and I have the big family that I always prayed for.
Your two and his two, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back to something because I don't know. This is all pure speculation, but I think there's going to be something here. So, when you were involved with the artists, there are many artists. I know maybe one or two of them, just a little bit, but I know that most of the artists probably do not have. I shouldn't say this as a general rule, but at least the ones I know of probably don't have a relationship with the Lord. Has the Lord opened up opportunity from you with those artists? There's one in particular, I'm not going to say his name, I don't want to embarrass the guy, but I was very fond of him, but I will say he was among the first, he was the pioneer artist. I've always liked that guy, and I saw recently, his wife passed and different things, but were you able to minister to some of these artists?
Oh, sure. And we can say his name. That's
okay.
my Dennis. Dennis Pauls.
Oh, I love Dennis.
He's my art papa, I call him.
Okay, yeah,
and I
great guy.
Would not have pursued art or done as well as I did and have been in the art community without him taking me under his wing. And he's just an amazing guy. He's just an amazing guy.
Have you had an opportunity to share gospel with some of these artists?
I have. And this is the bottom line for me with my life here is that I always, no matter where I was, high or low, I always asked the Lord, why? Why did I have to walk through these things? What was the purpose? What was the point? Because I always felt like it wasn't fair. And it was just this year when my book had gotten published and I had a opportunity to do a reading at Bogart's where the release of all that weight of those questions just took place. I was able to go in, and I want to say something about the amazing artists and writers and musicians in the art district. They might not all share the same religious beliefs that I do, but they are kind-hearted, wonderful, accepting, loving people, and I've never had to hide who I am.
Just like God.
Just like God.
Take you where you're at.
Exactly. And I've never had to hide who I am and that I love Jesus, and they've never had to hide who they are and what they believe. And because of that, I was so blessed to be able to sit at my reading in a room full of all different kinds of people from all different kinds of backgrounds that had all different kind of beliefs and that loved and supported me. And I was able to share not only the pieces, because my book is my testimony. It is my testimony in poetry. And so it goes from very dark to the healing process. And I was able to share about Jesus with them. I was able to share what he's done in my life and what he could do for them. And I can't tell you 100%, if it's saved souls or if it hasn't, but I know that hour of my life as I was sharing that with them, and they were so loving and respectful and kind, and they asked questions, and they were so supportive and so loving that as I was sharing everything, I just felt healed in so many different ways. I just said, all right, Lord, if everything that I've walked through was for this moment, to share this story with these people, then I accept it, and I thank you for it.
So Laura's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You went through some tough times, but he put you in the right place to get this book published. And then you actually had the privilege to share that book with believers, non-believers, people from all walks of life.
Yep.
Not only did you help them,
but
the Lord let you help yourself too with your own work.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Neat. It was neat.
So tell us about this book. put the book up, show us. We're going to let you talk about this book a little bit, Kate. Obviously, it's your testimony, but share with us a little bit about how it came to be and all the other things we'd love to hear about it.
So I was approached by a representative from Red Dashboard Publications, and they loved the work that I had, and I was very blessed and fortunate that they wanted to put the book together. And so it is my testimony in poetry. It is, like I said, it is a collection of, there are some very dark things in it. I wouldn't recommend this book for young children. So it is from my lows to my highs, to my, it's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, but it all leads back to Jesus being the answer to everything. And it can be purchased online. It can be purchased at Bogart's Bookstore and Cafe in Millville, and also an Octopus's Garden on High Street has it as well.
Name of the book?
An Abstract Heart.
And it's by Kate
Nardone.
Okay, and you can see it right there on your screen.
Yep.
Kate, people out there that have been through, I want to go back to this, because I always sense that there's just so many people that are hurting because they maybe share some of the hurts that you had. Maybe they are afraid. Maybe they think, oh, this is only me. Nobody else has went through this. Now, obviously, that's not true. Those people really need to know God loves them. And what were some of the things that you can share with those people so that they realize that they are not in it alone? Now, obviously, you know, when you said, okay, Lord, I'm ready. You made that decision. You heard God. Things changed. The Lord answered all your prayers. Maybe not when you wanted, you know, but He got you to where He could minister to you because you were ready to receive, because you realized you couldn't do it on your own. I mean, talk to us about what somebody can do to get set free of this, because that pain, I mean, I can still see it in your face when you talk about those tough times. I can see that it stripped you of everything. There's people out there that probably feel helpless. They probably feel like they want to end it. And you know, by ending it, you're not really helping anything. You're hurting many others. You're hurting who you leave behind. Spend the next couple of minutes, Kate. Talk to those people, minister to those people. I just think that you could really be a blessing to some of those people. Go ahead.
My answer is going to surprise you. One, any indication that you are getting in your mind that you are worthless or that life would be better without you, you're wrong. You are so loved and so important. And what's going to surprise you is my answer to how you can gain your freedom, other than surrendering your life to the Lord, which is number one, the most important thing, is to surrendering your life to Jesus, understanding that you do need a Savior and that you can't do this alone. He loved you enough to die for you, so He doesn't want you to do this alone. He wants to be there for you to help you through your healing. But you're never going to be healed and set free if you don't forgive. You have to forgive the people that hurt you. You have to forgive the people that caused you the pain. You have to forgive God if you're angry at Him. You have to forgive yourself if you're carrying around condemnation and shame. That was the biggest issue for me, was forgiveness. I feel like I walked around limping through life because I couldn't forgive my offenders, and I couldn't forgive God, and I couldn't forgive myself. And I truly believe that my freedom would have come sooner if I was able to do those things. And the Lord said, you will not be whole as a person, you will not be whole as a wife, and you will not be whole as a mother if you don't forgive. And so the Lord and I had a conversation about how this was going to happen. And He said, I'm going to create the circumstances for which you'll be able to have the strength to forgive. And He did. He did. He created the situations and the circumstances that were not the most comfortable, but I was able to forgive. And when I was obedient and I did, years of shame and fear and condemnation fell off of me. I was able to breathe in a way that I had never been able to breathe before. I told the hurtful people in my life that I was taking my pieces back, that they had taken pieces of me away, and that I wanted to be whole for my new family and for myself, and that I was going to take the pieces back. And not only did I offer the forgiveness, I asked for forgiveness for anything that I had necessarily done wrong. Not from the abuser, but for some of the other people. And so I just found that in walking in that forgiveness and surrendering my life to the Lord and walking in obedience and seeking the counseling and believing that God loved me, that I was able to be free.
Obviously, the book has many personal poems you have felt to share. Is there a poem on there that if I said, Kate, could you share one with us?
Sure.
Would you be willing to read one or two for us?
Absolutely.
I think our audience will be blessed by it.
Sure. I think what I'd like to share is the last one, if that's okay.
Sure.
Because it really sums up my testimony. And it's on page 84 of the book, and it's called The Answer. All the pieces of this broken heart, gathered one by holy nail-scarred hands, stained with the blood of mercy and redemption. Flesh torn, you hung, hammered by betrayal to a tree that grew from the very ground you created. You traveled the earth, wore the skin of a simple man, a walking vessel of love, finding worth and purpose in the lowest of us. A slaughtered innocent, a willing sacrifice, spit on and ridiculed, mocked and humiliated. You took my pain. You took the pain of the entire human race. Of course you understood my sorrow. Forgive me for forgetting. Jesus, healer, savior, from the ashes I rise, no longer limping through life, crippled by the agony of the past. You made all things new, no longer incomplete or broken, viewing myself unworthy. You made me complete and whole. You were always the answer.
People that have been through things like you, how important is it for them to find somebody to, you mentioned counselors, you mentioned pastors, you mentioned different people. How important is it to connect with somebody that can, kind of help them navigate into a Christian environment?
It's really important.
To counselors, and
it's really
what's the key
important.
to finding those people?
Oh, the key. I was just blessed and fortunate enough that I was pointed in that direction. So I went to a Christian woman in my church, someone that I trusted, and I just explained that I didn't go into detail or anything like that, but I just explained that I was hurting, I was going through some things, and I really felt that I needed to talk to somebody. And I didn't want to go to a therapist because I didn't want to just be put on medication because I knew that would be a problem for me. And I didn't want to be guided that way. So she was just a really, wonderful woman in my church was able to help me connect with a counselor. And Christian counseling is definitely what I recommend. I'm not saying that other therapies and other ways to get help are wrong. I just know that for me to have a spirit-filled person that had a thorough knowledge of God and His love and what it does for us and how He feels about us, that was just so important for me to have somebody constantly putting into me how loved I was by the Lord and pointing me in all the right directions, biblically pointing me in all the right directions through whatever I was sharing with them.
It seems to me, too, that the Lord has opened up opportunities for you to share with others some of the things you've been through. I know recently my wife attended one of your class or your meetings. Has that helped you? Has that helped you to be able to help others by teaching and sharing?
It has, yeah. When our pastor was still with us last year, he had asked if I would, when I started coming back to Ferriton, he had asked if I would be interested in joining a ministry or even starting one. And so I kind of prayed about it and gave him my ideas, and I really wanted to create a core group for the women in the church to get to establish really close relationships with each other and trust in each other and a safe environment, and to talk about topics like motherhood and forgiveness. And our next one coming up, the third Tuesday of this month, is on generosity and how that can help not just you, but other people. But yeah, so I started the group. I wasn't really sure it was going to be, you know, what it was going to turn into, but it's actually been really amazing. I have a really wonderful group of ladies, and people come from all over, people that don't even go to the church, people that just saw it on Facebook. And they don't realize that being able to share my experiences with them and being able to try to help and bless them, they are equally blessing me by sharing who they are and what they've been through. And we're all growing and healing together. And it's a wonderful thing.
Awesome. The book, one more time, Kate, is called?
Oh, Pieces of an Abstract Heart. And again, you can get it online or at Bogart's in Millville or at Octopus's Garden in Millville.
So if we just search it by the title online, it'll pop up. You can just order it.
And you can also get it on Red Dashboard Publications, their website as well. Yeah.
Kate, we have people out there that just, you know, would love to get on that road, would love to get set free, would love to just start by having somebody pray with them. Repeat after me. Would you be willing to do that for those people at home? Go ahead.
Sure thing. Sure. All right, whoever's out there, please, just if you would repeat after me, I promise, the Lord loves you and He hears you. Just say right now, Father God, I need you. I can't do this alone. I know that life is hard. It's been hard. I don't know how I'm going to get through this situation or how I'm going to overcome these circumstances or how I'm going to live through what I'm walking through right now, Lord. So I need you. I need you, Lord. Help me, Father, to trust you. Help me to surrender to you. Please take away my fear. Please give me courage and give me strength. Please lead, guide, and direct my steps. Please show me who you are. Please show me that you love me. Please provide me the help that I need. I trust you, Lord. Take my life. Take my life. Pull me off the wrong road and point me towards you, Lord. I just feel like there's somebody out there that you're on the edge. You're standing on the edge, and I just want you to know how loved you are, that Jesus loves you. He loves you so much, and He does not want you to take your life. Please understand how valuable you are. It's a lie that you don't matter. You matter so much. And I just promise you that if you will give it to God, you won't feel alone, and He will get you through this. It gets better. It gets better. I have been and felt the lowest a person can possibly feel. And I felt that I was never going to come back from it. But it gets better. This is not where it ends. Only if you make it end here. But the Lord can take you so far than you ever imagined. He will bring you joy that you never imagined could be yours. If you would just surrender and let Him take your life where it needs to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for watching Second Chances here on the Ascend Television Network. Our guest once again has been Kate Nardone. Kate, thank you for joining us the last couple of weeks. You've been a blessing to us. I'm sure you've been a blessing to the folks at home.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching the Ascend Television Network.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have something that you would like to share on Second Chances, well, we would love to hear from you. Visit our website, ascend-tv.com. Click on Contact Us. There's a form to fill out, and in the subject line, just type in Second Chances Guest. And we'll get back to you and schedule you a time to come on this program and share your story.